FishCare is an educational program to help recreational fishers reduce their impact on the marine environment. Legacy has gathered expert advice from organisations such as Sustainable Coastlines, Southern Seabirds and the Department of Conservation to help fishers reduce their impact on the marine environment.
Here at Sustainable Coastlines, we love our oceans. As Kiwis, we're all connected to our coastlines, but unfortunately, we have a bunch of things going wrong out at sea, and it starts here on land and with our own behaviours. Our oceans are filling up with plastic, and it's because of the actions that we are taking. We're putting plastics into a sea at a rate that is just alarming. By 2050, we're going to have more plastics in our oceans than there are fish. And that concerns us. So there is a lot we can do to stop this. It's actually a really simple issue. Individually, everyone out there can change the way that we use single-use plastics. Using less plastics means that we don't have all of that stuff that gets out to sea that lasts for a long time and can have huge impacts on marine life, including the fish that we eat. Out here in Auckland's Hauraki Gulf, we have rubbish that ends up on our islands of the beautiful Rangitoto Island, Motuihe Island, and all of the beautiful islands we have out here covered in rubbish, and that's come off our streets. So everything we're dropping on the streets heads out to sea, and out at sea we can make decisions to stop that too. Any piece of rubbish we've got on our boat that gets blown overboard, particularly if it's plastic, is going to last for a very long time. So making sure that our bait bags, any plastic we've got on board, fishing line, any little offcuts of plastics don't go overboard is super important, because in the end, we are what we eat. And if we're feeding our seafood our rubbish, that makes it back into our own bodies. We're finding out that the fish that we're catching have plastics in their stomachs. There's a study going on at the moment finding out just how much rubbish is inside of our fish in here in New Zealand, and it is alarming. And it is easy to solve. So thinking about what we're buying, maybe we don't need to buy bait in a bag, maybe we can catch our own bait. And thinking about those things and stopping creating that rubbish in the first place is one simple thing we can do. Any of the rubbish that's there, we can pick it up. We love our marine environments, fishermen love the ocean, and it's our duty as well to look after that place. So any rubbish that we find floating at sea, any rubbish we find on the beach is already causing a problem in the marine environment, already impacting on the animals that live there and the animals that we share that environment with. So if you see it, pick it up, even if it's not yours. Do your bit to help keep this place that we love pristine and look after it for yourself and future generations. Thank you from us here at Sustainable Coastlines for your love for our oceans. If you want to get more involved in what we do, head along to www.sustainablecoastlines.org. We've got a whole bunch of events on all the time, all year round, looking after those places that we love.
Before humans arrived, seabirds used to thrive on our mainland. There were seabirds swooping and gliding along our coasts and travelling far inshore, coming here to breed from overseas every year. Today, we've got relatively few seabirds, so they're mostly located out on some of our offshore islands where there's pest control. We've got 85 of our world's 360 species here in New Zealand. That's about a quarter of the world's species. And 27 of those species occur here in the Hauraki Gulf, just off our biggest city, where we've got most of our recreational fishers fishing in this region. Just like our kiwi, many of our seabird species are threatened species. And recreational fishing, or fishing, is one of the threats to our seabird species. So if a seabird gets hooked or accidentally entangled, that's a problem. Because there's so many fishers, recreational fishers out there, the occasional hooking or entanglement of a bird multiplied across all of those people out fishing really does have a big impact. So what we really would like you to do is be aware of our seabirds and just do a couple of things to look out for them and become seabird smart. At this time of the year in particular, there's lots of seabirds that are either have chicks or about to breed, so we need to be particularly careful with those birds. They're trying to feed their young ones as well, so be considerate, be responsible and try and be seabird smart. Okay, there's a number of things that you can do to help be seabird smart. Number one is to keep your boat nice and tidy. So cover your bait, keep any lines that aren't being used covered or put them away, and keep your deck nice and clean. When you fish, be fast when you're setting and reeling your gear, and go deep, so sink your bait or burley well below the surface of the water. You can dissuade birds by using streamers or water pistols, but if they become a lot of birds or they're becoming a real nuisance, maybe stop fishing or move somewhere else. If you do hook or entangle a bird, remember to go to the bird and be very gentle. You need to scoop the bird up, preferably with a net, cover it with a dry towel, hold it really securely. They've got really sharp beaks and claws, and then you need to carefully unwind the line from the bird or remove the hook or cut the hook. You need to let that bird recover for a bit before you release it back onto the water's surface. So be prepared. You need to have the gear on board to be able to crush the barb on the hook or to cut the hook if it's gone into the bird. Be informed. Knowing which bird is which will help tell you what fish are out there. Certain species will indicate the fish species that are under the water and lead you to the catch you're trying to get.